Two. What up? What up? What up? UrHero SupaTim here with another sit-down super interview with one of my favorite guys in the whole DMV. He's the head coach of the Howard University men's basketball team from the DMV, representing for HU. That's my homeboy Kenny Blakeney. Can I call you Kenny, or is just can I be professional? Be Kenny.
Nah, Kenny works just well, and people in my neighborhood up in Northwest, they got other names for me, but we won't go there because that's neighborhood.
Hey, we gonna keep the hood stuff in the hood.
No doubt.
Um, It's been an interesting season this year, for not just Howard University, but for sports in general, especially college sports. Um, we talked to Coach Blakeney over the summertime to get an idea of what he expected, hopefully expected, with the season this year for Howard University, his second season as coach for Howard University. So we want to talk a little bit more about how that season went. He had one of the top recruits in the country come in, Mr. Maker. So it's some anticipation for a successful season, but unfortunately, it didn't work out that way with injuries, COVID restrictions, and games missed, and ultimately the cancellation of the season. Um, we still got a good future here in HU. We want to just see how that season went, from your perspective as the coach running everything.
Well, yeah, thanks, Super Tim. I appreciate you having me on. I thought from our perspective, obviously, there was so much anticipation into our season, and not even locally, nationally, because what our program was able to accomplish in attracting a young man like McCord Maker, 5-star guy, a guy who was a ESPN top 16 guy in the country to Howard University. So in doing that, obviously it was something that was a national news story, not even a sports story, that a lot of people, especially during the time of I think social consciousness within our society, had drawn a lot of attention to the commitment and signing of McCord. So, not being able to compete this year because of COVID, I think was very tough. But I think we were able to really grow as a program. We had a lot of freshmen and sophomores that were very talented, and I think looking to get outside of themselves and take the next step in their development. And I saw that in practice and the limited amount of games that we've had. I was really looking forward to competing this year, quite honestly, and it's something that is has been tough. But like I said, I think it's something also to help down the road with making our team a little bit more resilient and appreciative, and not that they're not appreciative, but to actually have something taken away from you in a manner in which we did this year. Hopefully, we'll have our guys understand the sense of urgency and the appreciation to things that they care about.
So how was it for the seniors in their last season? We've seen CJ last year have a wonderful season, closing out his HU career. And I'm sure some other seniors that wanted to close out their career in a positive way, moving on, hopefully moving on to the pros. How did it kind of affect the seniors this year?
Yeah, it's been difficult. Obviously, and, when you have a year left of eligibility, you want that year to be the best year that it can be. And unfortunately, for our seniors, this 2020-2021 season was cut short after 5 games. So I think there's a way that the NCAA is taking a look right now to see if the seniors and everyone that was eligible during this season and competing on a team can get this year back in terms of another year eligibility. So hopefully for those guys, it's not the last time that they suit up, which will be a great, I think, way for them to be appreciative for everything that they've done at our university.
Well, they did it last year for the spring sports, allowed them to come back this year for another year eligibility. But how would that affect recruitment? Because if you have seniors coming back for another senior year, then we got not too many spaces available for incoming freshmen. How does that? How does your season and the COVID effect of your recruiting being as though most areas or most states, especially here in the DMV, didn't have basketball. A lot of the fall and winter sports are going to be going on during the springtime. How has that affected those situations affected your recruiting for next year?
Yeah, no, those are two good questions, Super Tim. I think firstly, the one is that the way they're trying to look at this, you have 13 scholarships for Division I men's basketball, and if the seniors were allowed to come back, I think what they're trying to figure out now is would that count against your 13, or could you have 13 plus the additional seniors that are at your university and in your program?
Mm-hmm.
Is the way that I take it. So it would be 13 plus the additional two. So for us, it would be uh, Kyle Foster and Sam Green would be our additional two. Not that the additional two is a number, but we have two seniors that completed their fourth year of playing in terms of their eligibility. So for us, it would be 13 plus those two. If we had three guys that completed it, it would be 13 plus those three. So I think it's one of those things where we're trying to figure out how does that all work, or is it going to be those guys have to fit in under your 13 scholarships? So that question is still trying to, I think, be answered. The second part of your question is, with COVID and not having a chance to really get out and see prospective student athletes and watch them play live. Yeah, it's been challenging, but Super Tim, one of the things that we do, and a lot of programs do this, we're probably 2 to 3 years ahead of um, the recruiting calendar. So, right now we're looking at kids that are in the class of 22 and the class of 23, and we know a few guys that are in the class of 24. So, we're down the road a little bit. It's obviously not being able to get to campuses. You don't get to see some of the things that you may pick up in person via watching live as you may in film. I know for me, one of the things that I can never tell on film sometimes is people's speed and quickness. Like sometimes, yeah, that's sometimes hard to see, or just the intangibles that you may see with watching someone live versus watching on film. Maybe how he interacts with his teammates or how he interacts with his coach. Things that you may see away from the camera that the camera can't pick up. So I think in terms of those kind of things, yeah, you do miss out on that a little bit. You don't get a chance to possibly see. For me, I love going to watch kids warm up. I love going to get in the game 30 minutes before, watching young men go through layup lines, watching them how they prepare for games, how they interact with their teammates, their communication, are they pumping guys up, like all those things in terms of uh, young men that I would love to have in our programs really matter to me.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about the addition of McCord Maker being a top ESPN player. We talked earlier this summer, like it's been a conversation all summer about your recruiting of him and how we can get more of the top players at HBCUs. We see Deion Sanders coaching down in Jackson State and how his name and his credibility elevates that program. What can we do to get more people like um, Deion Sanders who want to coach? I watch ESPN First Take every morning, and every time a coach gets hired that's not black, Stephen A. Smith goes into a tangent about the lack of black coaches. Um, but where are the top coaches or the coaches with the names um, stepping up to take on these jobs, not just NBA jobs, but the college jobs at the small schools that can help elevate these small schools? I think Howard has done a great job of bringing in two coaches, yourself and Larry Scott, who has major college experience to bring that credibility to the basketball and the football program. How can we get more of the Division I players who have that experience on a national level? Those NBA players. You have Mo Williams that's coaching down at Alabama State, who played for the Cleveland Cavaliers. How can we get more of those people who are interested, who are capable of coaching, and have the credibility to bring more eyes to HBCUs to start coaching, or even just being involved, not even just coaching, just a booster or uh, uh, ambassador for HBCUs. We've seen in the NBA All Star game, everything was focused around HBCUs. Chris Paul, even though he didn't go to a HBCU, all of his family went to HBCUs. It was kind of
Hmm.
crazy. Like you grew up with a family full of HBCUs, but you pass over that school to go to another school.
Yeah.
Um, how can we get more people actually more involved with the schools as opposed to just talking about it from a distance?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, and I think part of it is that there is an awakening right now around HBCUs and athletics, and we've had some incredible, history that has kind of taken place over the last year that has gotten us to this point. As you mentioned, the NBA has done a done a tremendous job, I think, of bringing awareness to HBCUs, bringing funds. Guys like LeBron, Chris Paul, Carmelo. There's been a number of guys that have really stepped up and have done tremendous jobs communicating about I think, the uniqueness and the beautiful part about HBCUs and in the HBCU experience and education. I do want to, say that there's like, sure, there should be more people like Deion Sanders that want to get involved and elevate, I think, HBCUs and position us in a way where there's an opportunity for incredible success. But there has to be, one, I think, a number of qualified people that can do it. We don't want to, the toughest thing to do is setting someone up for failure, because then it hurts the narrative. So when we're talking about this, this is a very difficult job. It is a lot more challenging and harder than being an assistant or someone sitting on the couch thinking they can do this. It's not for everybody, and people may want to do it, but there's a there's a discipline with this within your daily structure that makes it a very complicated job. And so, we have to have the right candidates to be able to, I think, help tell the narrative of why it's important to have African American or Black and Brown leadership in these positions. The second thing is that for a lot of times, Super Tim, with some of these jobs, they're very challenging jobs. It's like when a person of color gets a job, it's not the Duke job, it's not the Kentucky job. That
Mm-hmm.
it's a job that's going to be one that's not probably had a lot of success, and they're banking on some type of quick fix over a 3 to 5 year period, probably the duration of a coach's first contract, to be able to spin around a lot of years of bad history, tradition, maybe infrastructure, and all those things that make up situations where jobs are difficult. So if we are on the right path in conversations now, and people really, I think, understand that there's a sense of urgency. One of the most incredible stats, I think, in college basketball, and I think it's probably even worse in college football, is that 56% of college basketball players are African American, right, or Black. And in the Power Five schools, which comprise of 65 schools, we only got 8 Black head coaches out of those Power Five schools. You're talking about a tremendous disparity in terms of the numbers uh, that reflect the number of Black and African American student athlete versus the number of Black and African American coaches. So there's conversations that are going on, because I've been very very lucky to be on two committees that are diligently and pushing and fighting to have an opportunity to bring some more incredibly talented candidates to the table for opportunities that are Black and brown. And I do see that we are making some progress. This type of year is very difficult for in the college basketball world, because there's going to be coaches that at this point in time their contracts are going to be up, or the university isn't happy with the progress that program may be making, and some of those guys are going to be let go. But hopefully through this period where there's going to be opportunities for more black and brown coaches to be able to elevate, I think, to push forward, to continue to tell the narrative that there's there's black and brown coaches out here that are really really good and really talented that are worthy of those positions and spots.
So you think, as far as like getting up to the whether it's major colleges like the big power conferences and NBA, when I was coming up, I always seen coaches kind of work their way up through the ranks. You see Anthony Holloway starting out at AAU and going to Memphis. Chris Paul in the interview said he wants to coach his AAU program once he's done. Um, Everybody just can't come in like walk into a Steve Nash situation day one with no coaching experience or a Derek Fisher situation. At some point, we have to kind of humble ourselves and start off at the high school level, at the AU level, and work our way up. Do you see like some black coaches ignoring that aspect of the climb to prove themselves? Was one thing for somebody to say you're worthy, it's a whole other thing to prove and show that you're worthy. Do you think that not enough of us are taking opportunities on the lower levels to prove ourselves and build up to that level of getting to the pros?
I don't
Just
think it's that. I mean, if you look at the grassroots, I was going in the grassroots space for a while at Under Armour at one of the highest levels that you can be. And if I'm looking at all the coaches and the camp directors, a majority of them, heavy majority of them were black, brown, African American. So I don't think that's the case. I think there are biting young coaches that are learning through grassroots, through high school, through personal development training, all of the above, that just need an opportunity. And it's there's so many limited spaces, right? There's 350 something Division I jobs. So you're talking about on a staff of anywhere between 2 to 3 full-time assistant coaches. There's probably right around 1,000 Division I assistant coaches in the country. So that number hasn't expanded or grown that much over the last 20 years or so. It just makes it a really tough field to try to break into. Typically, what's going to happen, Tim, is that people are going to hire people who they know and they trust. And right now, if the majority of the coaches are white, that part of their connections and networks and how they view the coaching positions and the worthiness of who they hire, that comes down to on them. So it's something that I think a lot of people are taking a look at. I know from every side of it, from the high school side, the AAU side, the college side, everybody's aligned in terms of the different organizations that are pushing forward with this. And I'm excited to see the progress over the next year or so.
Cool. Which will, how's the summertime looking for HU basketball?
That's a great question. I don't know. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, Tim, and right now we're on a dead period, which means that we cannot recruit off campus or have any young men on campus to recruit. Um, you know, I don't know what's going to happen when the summer part comes around, when June and July comes around, and AAU events are possibly taking place again. I don't know how we move in that situation, but I would assume that they would want everybody to have at least a vaccination shot in terms of coaches before we start moving around as much as they will allow us to move.
Mm. Yes, so hopefully everything can get back to normal sooner than later. Like I said, hopefully people can get their vaccinations and do the right thing to make everything get back to normal. 'Cause I'm tired of sitting in the house and watching Netflix. If I Netflix and chill one more day, I might go crazy. So I'm trying to get back out. Summertime's coming. I'm trying to get back out and be out in the community doing what we do. And definitely getting back into the bird. I was trying to get back into the bird this year.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm trying to get back into Burr right now, man. I'm
yeah,
missing being on the court.
we'll miss that atmosphere. People don't understand the atmosphere that comes with being at the Burr.
You're a big
Or
part of that, Tim. You're a big part of that. Thank you.
I was looking forward to it, but I'll be the next year. I'll be there. I'm at Green Stadium for the football game, and definitely be there at Burr for the basketball games next year, supporting DC, supporting the HBCUs, supporting everything that's good in our community. I want to thank you for coming through and chatting with me. Anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
No,
Anybody
man,
want to shout out?
this has been great, man. I enjoy always communicating with you. You do a tremendous job. Very great, smart questions, and it's always a pleasure to visit with you and spend time, brother.
That's what's up. How can I get in contact with you? Or with Howard University basketball?
Yeah, I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I am not that, like I said, I still got a Yahoo account, man. I am not that savvy with technology, so I don't even know my handles. But they can just put my name in, something to pop up. I'm easy to find if people need me.
Howard has a Instagram and Twitter. Howard was it Howard underscore MBB.
Yes, Howard underscore or HU, I think underscore MBB.
Okay. On
Yeah,
Instagram,
I
Twitter.
think so. I think
I,
so. I don't know. I'm giving out the wrong information, Tim. Let me be quiet, man. Let me.
I'll make sure I get when I post this. I'll make sure I get it and add
All
it in
right.
that content so people
All
can make sure
right.
to follow and support Howard University basketball and Howard University in general. Thank you again for coming through, Coach Blakeney.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you, man. Stay well.
I will look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right.
All right.